This video is sponsored by Invideo AI. June 23, 1944. In the darkness of the mid-Atlantic, 850 nautical miles west of the Cape Verde Islands, the Japanese submarine I-52 slices through the water. The 356-foot vessel, commanded by Lieutenant Commander Kameo Uno, carries a cargo set to alter the course of the war. I-52's cavernous hold contains 2.2 tons of gold bars, payment for Nazi Germany's most advanced technology. More crucially, 1,700 pounds of uranium oxide lie in wait, the potential core of a dirty bomb. War secrets, cutting-edge radar equipment, and even an Enigma machine complete the precious cargo, all destined to unlock German military innovation. Near midnight, an American airman aboard a Grumman TBF-1C Avenger detects a surface contact on his half-functional radar. Lieutenant Commander Jesse D. Taylor, piloting the lead aircraft, responds immediately. Flares burst from his Avenger, bathing the ocean below in harsh light. Caught in the sudden illumination, I-52 plunges beneath the waves. Taylor dives, unleashing a barrage of depth charges that explode off the submarine's starboard side. As the crew of I-52 fights to control their descent, Taylor circles overhead, preparing to deploy one more weapon, a cutting-edge device to seal the submarine's fate. In the vast oceans of content creation, a new flagship has emerged, Invideo AI V3. This powerful update allows you to take your AI video creation to new horizons. Picture this: you're at the helm of your own media battleship, but instead of having to rely on a crew of hundreds, you have one incredibly powerful AI at your command. That's Invideo AI V3. Your first mate, your navigator, and your entire film production team rolled into one. What sets Invideo AI V3 apart in the flotilla of video tools? It's not just about editing existing footage. It's about generating entire productions from the keel up in a way that blows the competition out of the water. With just a few simple text prompts, you can launch broadcast-ready, full-length videos on any topic under the sun. Let's dive into a demonstration. We tasked Invideo AI V3 with creating a short video about the 10 most incredible wonders of India and their history. Here's what surfaced in just minutes. You can see why this tool is making big waves in the world of AI video. But if creating educational content doesn't float your boat, there are plenty of other video genres, which Invideo AI V3 dominates with flying colors. Whether it's B-roll style footage or social media reels, this versatile tool offers a whole ocean of possibilities. Crucially, unlike other AI video tools, Invideo AI V3 isn't just a concept floating in the distance. It's going to be available in just a few weeks for you to set sail on your voyage of creative discovery. Use the link in the description to get on board with Invideo AI's current version today. Paid plans start at $20 a month, and you can even receive double the video creation minutes in your first month with our special code, DARKSEAS50. When it comes to AI video, you no longer have to feel lost at sea. Let Invideo AI steer your course to domination. I-52 was the latest vessel to embark on what the Japanese called a Yanagi mission. These perilous voyages, born of desperation as Allied forces advanced on multiple fronts, sought to exchange vital technology and resources between Japan and Nazi Germany. Submarines undertaking these missions had to traverse vast distances, evading Allied naval forces that dominated the seas. The stakes were high, and the odds were long. Of the 4 previous attempts by Japanese submarines, only one had successfully completed the round trip, the other 3 falling victim to Allied torpedoes and mines. All 3 failures involved Type B-1 submarines. But for the 5th Yanagi mission, the Imperial Japanese Navy turned to the Mitsubishi Corporation's brand new Type C-3 class, of which I-52 was the first of 3. Laid down on September 18, 1942, at the Kure Naval Arsenal and commissioned on December 28, 1943, she represented the pinnacle of Japanese submarine technology and was specifically designed for these types of assignments. Measuring 356 feet 6 inches in length and displacing 2,564 tons surfaced, I-52 was among the largest underwater vessels of her time. Her design prioritized cargo capacity over combat capability, with a cavernous hold that could accommodate up to 290 tons of freight, a volume unprecedented in submarine design. Meanwhile, I-52's propulsion system consisted of 2 diesel engines for surface running, generating 3,700 horsepower, and 2 electric motors for submerged operations. This configuration allowed for a maximum surface speed of 17.7 knots and a submerged speed of 6.5 knots. With a remarkable range of 21,000 nautical miles, I-52 was purpose-built for the long-haul missions that would be her destiny. However, despite her primary role as a cargo carrier, I-52 was not defenseless. She was armed with a 140mm deck gun, a 25mm anti-aircraft gun, and 6 torpedo tubes. This armament, while modest compared to dedicated attack submarines, provided some protection against enemy aircraft and ships. On March 10, 1944, under the command of Lieutenant Commander Kameo Uno, I-52 departed Korea for her maiden voyage. Her planned route would take her around Asia and Africa before arriving at her destination of Lorient in occupied France. There, it's believed that the Germans planned to provide the Japanese with 1,700 pounds of uranium oxide. While insufficient for creating an atomic bomb, this material could potentially be used to develop a radiological weapon or dirty bomb, which could be used to wreak havoc on the United States. I-52 was also to be given 35 to 40 tons of secret documents, drawings, and strategic cargo, including T-5 acoustic torpedoes. A UMO-213A motor used an advanced German fighter aircraft, radar equipment, vacuum tubes, ball bearings, bomb sights, chemicals, alloy steel, and optical glass. What's more, I-52 carried a human cargo of 14 Japanese engineers and technicians tasked with studying German technology, particularly in the fields of anti-aircraft guns and torpedo boat engines. This unprecedented access to their allies' advanced knowledge would represent a potential game-changer for Japan's increasingly outmatched military. However, it wouldn't come for free. In order to pay the Germans, I-52's holds were laden with 2.2 tons of gold, packed into 146 bars and stored in 49 metal boxes, earning her the nickname the Golden Submarine. What's more, she was to deliver 9.8 tons of molybdenum and 11 tons of tungsten, rare metals crucial for the production of high-grade steel, as well as 3 tons of opium and nearly 120 pounds of caffeine, valuable wartime commodities used for both medicinal purposes and as a form of currency. Making a stop in Singapore, she took on additional cargo, 120 tons of tin ingots, 59.8 tons of raw rubber, and 3.3 tons of quinine, also destined for delivery to the Germans. As I-52 slipped out of Singapore harbor and into the Indian Ocean, she carried with her Japan's hopes for a technological leap that could turn the tide of the war in the Pacific. The success of her mission could provide Japan with the means to challenge Allied superiority in the air and on the sea, and potentially even usher in a new era of radiological warfare. Yet her crew knew the most dangerous part of their journey lay ahead. As I-52 entered the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, the submarine's crew maintained a constant state of alert. Every crewman knew that detection by Allied forces would mean certain doom for their mission and likely their lives. Commander Uno kept the submarine submerged during daylight hours, surfacing only at night to recharge batteries and allow the crew some much-needed fresh air. The journey was not without its challenges. The cramped conditions aboard the submarine, combined with the tropical heat, made life miserable for the crew and passengers. The constant threat of detection added to the psychological strain. Despite these hardships, the men of I-52 remained focused on their vital mission. On June 6, 1944, as I-52 approached the middle of the Atlantic, momentous events were unfolding elsewhere. Allied forces were storming the beaches of Normandy, beginning the liberation of Western Europe. News of the invasion reached the Japanese naval attaché in Berlin, Rear Admiral Kojima Hideo, who immediately sent a coded message to I-52. The message warned of the Normandy landings and advised I-52 to prepare for a change in destination. Instead of the French port of Lorient, now under threat from Allied forces, the submarine was instructed to head for German-occupied Norway. Hideo also instructed I-52 to rendezvous with German U-boat U-530 for a brief but crucial meeting, allowing for the transfer of vital equipment and personnel. The two submarines were to meet on June 22nd at 9:15 p.m. at coordinates 15 degrees north, 40 degrees west. Commander Uno promptly responded to Hideo with I-52's current position, 35 degrees north, 23 degrees west. Yet, unbeknownst to the Japanese, I-52 had been tracked by the Allies ever since leaving Singapore. In response, a formidable U.S. Navy task force was dispatched with a single mission: find and destroy I-52. Now, Hideo and Uno's messages had been both intercepted and decrypted by Allied ultra-intelligence, letting the American ships know exactly where to look for their target. The task force, a submarine hunter-killer group under the command of Captain Aurelius B. Bosselier, was led by the escort carrier USS Bogue. Not only did her flight deck hold 9 General Motors FM-2 Wildcats and 12 Grumman TBF-1C Avengers, but she was also flanked by 5 destroyer escorts: USS Francis M. Robinson, USS Haverfield, USS Swenning, USS Willis, and USS Jansen. This flotilla had already proved its mettle, sinking another Japanese submarine, RO-501, on May 13th as it crossed the Atlantic. On June 15th, the task force streamed out of Casablanca, determined to intercept I-52 and prevent German technology from falling into Japanese hands. On the night of June 22nd, approximately 850 nautical miles west of the Cape Verde Islands, I-52 cautiously approached her rendezvous point. The sea was calm, the night sky a glittering canopy of stars. Suddenly, a dark shape emerged from the inky waters. U-530 had arrived. The 2 massive submarines maneuvered alongside each other, their crews working with practiced efficiency in the moonlight. Fuel lines snaked between the vessels as U-530 topped off I-52's tanks. More precious cargo followed: a Naxos FUMB-7 radar detector and an Enigma coding machine, both crucial for evading Allied detection. 2 German radar operators, Petty Officers Kurt Schultz and Rolf Behrendt, clambered aboard I-52. They were joined by Captain Lieutenant Alfred Schaefer, a liaison officer who would guide them through the treacherous Bay of Biscay. As the last man crossed, the submarines parted ways, U-530 melting back into the darkness. Little did the crew of I-52 know that their position had been compromised. Just hours after their rendezvous, on the evening of June 23rd, the Bogue's flight deck erupted with activity. At 11 p.m. GMT, the first flight of Avengers took to the sky, their propellers cutting through the night air as they began their deadly search pattern. At approximately 11:40 p.m., fate intervened. Despite a malfunctioning radar that only swept half the sky, radar operator Ed Whitlock detected a surface contact. Lieutenant Commander Jesse D. Taylor, piloting the lead Avenger, didn't hesitate. Flames burst from his aircraft, bathing the ocean below in harsh light. There, caught in the sudden illumination, was I-52. Taylor dove, unleashing a barrage of depth charges that exploded just off the submarine's starboard side. I-52 plunged beneath the waves, but Taylor was far from finished. He dropped a purple sonobuoy, a cutting-edge underwater microphone that would allow him to track his quarry. As I-52 attempted to slip away into the depths, Taylor circled overhead, listening intently. The faint sound of propellers reached his ears, and he knew he had his target. With precision, he released a Mark 24 mine. In reality, an acoustic homing torpedo nicknamed Fido. Beneath the surface, Commander Uno and his crew could only wait in terrified silence as the torpedo zeroed in on their position. Moments later, a tremendous explosion rocked the submarine. The hull groaned and buckled as seawater rushed in. Above, Taylor's sonobuoys picked up the chilling sounds of I-52's last moments: the cracking of a hull under immense pressure, the tortured screech of twisting metal. The mighty submarine, with all her valuable cargo and the hopes she carried, was disappearing into the abyss. As dawn broke on June 24th, USS Jansen arrived at the site. The destroyer's crew found a grim scene: an oil slick spreading across the ocean surface, accompanied by floating debris. Amidst the flotsam were poignant remnants of I-52's final voyage: raw rubber, scraps of silk, and, tragically, human remains. The sea had claimed I-52's crew of 95, 14 passengers, and 3 German personnel. With her sank not only a fortune in gold and rare metals, but also the hopes of a technology transfer that might have changed the course of the war. After the sinking of I-52, Japan abandoned its Yanagi missions, though Germany would attempt 2 more reciprocal voyages. U-864 was sunk by the British in February 1945 while trying to ship mercury and parts and plans for the ME-262 to Japan. A few weeks later, U-234 was transporting around 1,200 pounds of uranium oxide when Germany's surrender brought an abrupt end to both her mission and the possibility of any future wartime technological exchange between the two nations. For decades after the war, I-52's exact location remained a mystery. In 1995, Paul Tidwell, a commercial historian and salvage expert, led an expedition to find the submarine. Using advanced sonar technology and guided by declassified wartime records, Tidwell's team searched a vast area of the mid-Atlantic. On May 2, 1995, their perseverance paid off. The sonar picked up the unmistakable outline of a submarine on the ocean floor, 17,000 feet below the surface. Subsequent exploration using remotely operated vehicles confirmed it was indeed I-52. The submarine was found lying mostly upright, her conning tower intact, with the hull numbers still visible. A large hole aft of the conning tower bore witness to the Mark 24 torpedo's devastating impact. The discovery of I-52 sparked intense debate within the international community. While Paul Tidwell has expressed interest in recovering the submarine's cargo, such an operation would face significant technical, legal, and ethical challenges. To date, no salvage operation has been approved. As I-52 rests on the Atlantic seabed, she serves as both a time capsule of a world at war and a memorial to those who lost their lives. Dark Seas extends its gratitude to Invideo AI for sponsoring this video. Remember, Invideo AI is standing by to become your first mate for content creation. Navigate to the link in the description now to try out Invideo AI's current version for free, with paid plans starting at just $20 a month. And don't forget to use our code DARKSEAS50 to double your creative fuel. Captain your own fleet of stunning videos and conquer the waves of online content with Invideo AI today.